Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In this episode I'm going to take care of this old IBM computer, and this is actually part of a more extensive project that I have already started, and I had to post all the other videos that I have already taken, but that will take a while. By the way, this computer, which is a personal system /2 model 55SX, as you can see there. Well, this computer is off since almost 20 years, but I believe more. And this is the condition as I have found it. So I will go to crack it open, see the internal condition. I already have seen some corrosion over the aluminum front frame, so hopefully it will not only to be thrown away. So let's try to remove it, and I'm seeing inside together with you for the first time. No way to take it out. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's do this. Put aside and flip it over of 90 degrees. Well, clearly we don't have any expansion here, and it seems that no one were installed since all the covers are there. And there are clear corrosion signs down on the frame, as well as here, over there. This is the hard disk. Okay, so here it's missing one IC, which could be is the coprocessor. But I'm seeing some corrosion on the pins over there, and as well as on the crystals, the metal can of the crystals. And clearly we have also behind this razor card there are other components that should be checked. And I already have seen the RAM support down below there. There is one slot is emptied and one is populated. I don't know which amount of RAM has this thing. This is clearly the power supply, which is driven by this rod. This is the hard drive. Okay, so I think at this point we need to crack it open, everything. I mean, this completely dismantle and check the condition of the board. I don't even know if there is, oh, look at that. This is what I believe to be the BIOS setup battery container, the famous Dallas chip DS1287, which I strongly believe that is completely dead. So I will not go to power it up in this condition. I will remove the power supply of the rest, clean it up, everything, and see the condition. Well, I actually have changed my plans. I want to try this one before everything else. Still there is the seal here, so nobody has been in. There are dusty signs, so I want to try to power it up first. So I will open and see the capacitor conditions and try to power it up with the variac as it is. This is the internal, the power supply as I have opened it. So there are some spider networks here, but nothing serious, no capacitor leakage signs. So what I will do, I will just brush a bit and try to power it up with the variac. Well, while I was brushing the PCB, I have noted that there are very bad signs, leakage signs here, and also down there. There is another capacitor over there that also shows some leakage signs. So I don't think there is any chance that this is gonna work like it is. So at least I need to replace those caps, but I believe that should be completely recapped this thing. Perhaps those capacitors are still fine as usually they are, but I think must be check all the capacitor first. Well, while I'm waiting the caps, I'm trying to restore a bit the case, and this is the condition of the floppy disk drive, very bad condition, and also the hard disk drive shows some rustiness. This is the PCB. This is the drive's caddy. So what I'm going to do is to wash those plastic parts and do a retrobrite and see what will be the end. And by the way, this is a very brief sketch of the power supply capacitor places, since I'm going to replace those caps shortly. I've just finished the capacitor replacement. All of the electrolytics except these two has been replaced. So I will go directly to test it without any variac, since those two I have already tested with high voltage. So we don't need to take care of the reforming of them. So let's get right to the power it up. Okay, I have just plugged the power cord. So clearly, if the fan will spin, means that the power supply is working. So 3, 2, 1, and nothing happened. So there is clearly a fault. Let me switch off, and so need some troubleshooting. Okay, I spent a bit of time checking with the ohmmeter the output rails resistance, and all of them are fine. So I believe the problem is in the power transistor section driving. The power transistor itself is fine, as well as all the rectifier diodes. So it seems that something is wrong with the perhaps this IC is one of that is faulty. One is it's an op amp. This is the PWM controller. So what I'm gonna do to check the power supply on it. So let's give it a try. Okay, I have seen the data sheet of this IC, the power supply controller, which is an AS3852, and it seems that the power supply should be between pin 5 and 7, and I'm having 300 and a little bit more millivolts. So clearly is not supplies. There is no power supply on this IC. So I need to figure out where it is the rail that power it up. I think I got it. Sniffing around with the ohmmeter, I found that this resistor should be 100K, and look at that. It's 6 meg. So clearly here we have an open resistor. So I will grab 1K and just jump it over to the resistor, since I have those ceramic spacers. So I want to try if I just jump it, the power supply will run. Okay, I've just jumped it over. Not quite sure about the contact, if it is good or not, but I'm going to try to plug in the cord and see what it does. Oh, yeah, it's going, it's running. Okay, so that resistor fixed the problem. Well, at least it's running. And so let's test some rail, voltage rail. Let's see some. Let me zoom out a bit. Let's see if we can measure some rails over here. Okay, so here we should have 5 volts. Okay, that's good. That should be -5. That's good as well. So you're not so well centered. This should be, can't remember, -12 maybe. Yes, and it does. This is +12. Yeah, I think this is something about yeah, another +5. Yeah, all the rails are fine. I have replaced the resistor which was right over here. And by the way, this is the condition of the PCB. Over there, here, there are the signs of the capacitor leakage. By the way, it's upsettable, and yeah, I will leave like that. The power supply is back in its place. These are the components that I have replaced on it. So let's see if it's still working. Yeah, it's working. So initially I was thinking to test the motherboard. I want to test the power supply first for a bit. I will apply some load to the power supply and let it run for several hours. The power supply is a while that it's running at 4 amps, and I have also closed the cover, since I think that the airflow will be better with all the covers in place. Still need to fix the screws, but seems fine. So I have just finished the cleaning of the motherboard, so I will remove the electronic load and try to power the motherboard. Okay, to try to see something on the screen, I decided, since this is a VGA card, I mean the video format is a VGA, I just have add this missing hole here, and I should be able to plug the regular VGA socket cable, so the full populated socket or plug. So I should be able now to plug a regular monitor and see if I can have some image. So let's go ahead with this task. This is the current setup. I have opened the floppy disk. I have connected the video output to the lab monitor. So I will move the camera in front of the monitor and see if I have some video output from the computer. Okay, let's power up and see if we have some sign. Nothing so far. Well, actually, oh yeah, look at that. Memory count. Okay, this is nastiness of my monitor. Okay, so clearly we have 3 errors, and okay, it's not okay. Let's go to read the manual. Let's press F1. This should bring to the basic homepage, and indeed it does. Okay, so let's see if the keyboard is responding. Let's see if I can make some reset. Oh yes. So Ctrl Alt Delete, make the computer reset and start the process again. Well, by the way, I will check the code, but I believe that one of these should be Floppy. And indeed, if I go to the Floppy and make the computer boot in again, let's do it like that. Well, I should see the head seeking back and forth, so I wonder if the motor is frozen in that position. We have the LED on, but we should see move the head, I believe. Again, I'm not a computer expert, but I think that should be the regular behavior. So let me try to move the shaft of the motor and see if I can make him a bit more free. Well, since I really believe that this motor should turn and going to seek track 0, and it doesn't, so I decided to open the bird, and I found this two SMD capacitor, and there is a bit of oxidation over there. So I really believe that those capacitor has created some problem here. Hopefully the replacement should fix it. Let's try to replace that with tantalum capacitors. The capacitors replacement indeed has made the motor turn. I have sprayed with some deoxidation product, and these are the two tantalum capacitors that I have installed in place of the two SMD capacitors. And yes, that fixed the problem of the motor running. Now it's running, but it's so sticky that it's almost impossible that it can work as it should. So I decided to completely remove the motor, and what I'm going to do is to open this rear cover, which should allow me to slide it out. Let's see if I can do it. Hopefully this will definitely fix the motor problem. Yeah, very, very hard to slide it out. Okay, so need a very deep cleaning and lubrication, and see if I can bring it back to life. Well, unfortunately, the motor repair doesn't fix the problem, since well, actually the motor now it's spinning very freely, and the head move back and forth without any problem very smoothly. And however, the motor make a very strange noise, and I believe that the motor driver is faulty. So Googling, I have seen that this is a common problem about this Mitsubishi floppy disk drive. So I decided to make a package, and using the original connector plug, I made this new ribbon cable connection, and I have soldered some pull-up resistors, since this is what I have found, that seems that the original floppy disk controller IC gives this kind of signal. So let's plug it in and see the result. By the way, the original ribbon cable it's untouched, and I can reverse this package whenever I want. So let's try to plug it in and see the result. Okay, everything is plugged. Inside the floppy drive there is the reference disk that should make me possible to set the BIOS of this computer, since the Dallas real-time clock here has lost its power from the internal battery. So let's get started and let's hear the noise of the floppy drive. Well, clearly it will gain from the power cord plug-in. Second try. By the way, I have added some memory that make the start count longer, so it will take a bit more time. And okay, same behavior. So the floppy disk is scanning but doesn't start, and I have this error. These two errors are that the battery is not working at the settings, the real-time clock settings are lost, and need the reference disk to make them work again. But unfortunately, the floppy disk doesn't read, the floppy drive. So I think it's now time to make some tests on the floppy disk controller on the motherboard. Well, okay guys, that is a really strange thing. Turns out that my 34 pins heater that I have crimped with the new ribbon has two contact shorting together. It was exactly ground and data output. So I fixed the problem. I boot again the computer, and look at that. I'm having the splash screen of the setup. So I will hit enter and let's see. Okay, so the disk is reading. Okay, so let's see what it does. Battery error, clearly. The battery is dead, okay. Next page. So, what should I do? Hit enter. Okay, automatic configuration. Let's see what it does. Automatic configuration is complete. Let's see. Okay, clearly now I have configured without the hard drive. So I should have done this with it. Yeah, same error. Okay, let me switch to the hard disk connected. Hard drive connected. Clearly same error. Pressing F1 should go to the booting sequence. So I'll be back when it will be finished. Okay, again the configuration is complete. Hit enter and let's see what it does. It self restart. I don't even know what it contained, the hard drive. Let me remove the floppy disk. No, same error. Perhaps the real-time clock is dead. Well, I have continued my package and I have modified the DS1287 with external battery and with the reference disk inside. I'm having now this screen and I should be able to set up all the components. So clearly I'm having the date and time error, so I will go ahead and try to set up all the options installed in the PC and see the final result. Okay, I'm having this configuration view and it's of course recognizing the hard drive. This is a very good thing. Well, since I'm still having the date and time error, well, it seems that I have skipped this passage. So in set futures, there is set date and time, and this should fix the problem. I'm just rebooting after the date and time setting. So counting the memory. Sorry for the glare. Let's see what it does. It's counting twice, don't know why. By the way, it's counting correct, 8 meg. And now it should goes on drive C. Let's see. Okay, it's going to basic. So something is wrong. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I'm not having anymore the date and time error. Well, I'm still having the problem that despite the installation, the successful installation on the hard drive, I can't boot from the hard drive. So I'm going to perform the computer test feature in the reference floppy disk and see if we will have some error message at the end. So read and write test seems that the seeking process has been done as it should. Proceeding the test on the hard drive. Just trying to have a chance to have some corrosion or dusty that can cause some problem here. I don't see anything of obvious. Clearly we have two ribbon cables here that may have some contact problem, so I will spray that with contact cleaner. We also have a bunch of tantalum capacitors as well as those three electrolytics. So that's for sure will be a good idea to have a test on them, and let's see if we can have some lucky to revive the hard drive. By the way, when I had installed the DOS, I've been able to go in the hard drive and read the content, but I can't boot from it. So don't know if there is any problem with the booting sector. So let's see. Well, the removal of the first capacitor here, the electrolytic, has revealed a very leaky capacitor, and I had to clean with a lot of flux the pad. Should be 47 microfarad, and it is 24. We have 18% of loss, and it is 140 ohms of ESR, which is an enormous amount. So clearly here need a recap, and hopefully will give us some help. After a lot of struggling, I find a way to properly prepare the hard disk. There are some bad sectors, but it seems that can be used. I'm not sure that it will last longer, but well, I'm just trying to install Windows 3.1 and see if we'll be able to boot directly from the hard disk. Well, I spent several hours trying to make it boot from hard drive. I've been able to install all the softwares, but doesn't have such luck. So I discovered that in the reference disk there is an hidden menu, which is what I believe to be the low-level hard disk drive format, which is exactly what it is doing right now. It will take very long, and it is already running it since almost 45 minutes. So I will wait the end and see if this makes some difference. Just finished it. So it has 1059 tracks or cylinders. Tracks actually are 39, 4 heads, size 8 megabyte, no bad sectors. This actually previously, when I performed the formatting, the high level formatting, gives me bad sectors, so hopefully has fixed that problem. So let's go ahead and see what requires hitting enter. So this is the hidden menu in the reference disk. So let's return to the system checkout. Let's see what it does. Okay, so this is okay, the disk is okay, everything looks normal. Run test one time. Let's see the result. Test all devices. It's now performing the ESDI interface with the hard disk drive. So it has performed already seeking and read-write test. So it's doing the read verify and see the result. Okay, I've just completed all the tests and performed perfectly, including the hard drive, which is very good. So at this point I will try to install the DOS system again. Back on DOS 4 installation. Okay, I think I have fixed all the issues. So I'm going to switch on the computer. It will take a bit to boot up, and from here it tries to boot from floppy, and then beep and went to the hard drive. And yeah, I've done some modifications, but I'm having the booting screen of Windows 3.1, so that is superb. So the computer is fully functional now, and I think I will try to summarize what I've done to achieve to have a working computer. After the low-level formatting, I've been able to install DOS 6.22, which is the only one that that allow me to make those difference, those changes and those edits in the files. I had DOS 4.00, but doesn't work. At this point, which I'm having a working machine, if I get out from Windows, simply off, yeah, and now we can switch off the computer. Okay, so everything is back together with the exception of the floppy drive. The original one is completely faulty, and this is the original ribbon cable. The one that I have used so far, I have cleaned the voltage rail job here with the pull-up resistors. I have installed the original slide part here that make it slide in. This is the original cover here that I will not fit right now, since the floppy disk driver that I'm going to install is different. I have also prepared this adapter for a regular floppy disk drive, 1.4 meg. So it's time to reassemble everything and see if it still works. Well, clearly, to arrive to this point, I have done so many trials that I can't even remember them. By the way, two major actions makes the difference. First of all, the debug code that clear the CMOS content here in the BIOS setting. That will allow you, or even better say, the computer, to see the hard drive. But at that point, will not boot from the hard drive because it's not formatted as the computer wants. To reach that kind of format, you have to go through the reference disk to an hidden menu, which is reached by pressing Ctrl and E, and that menu is exactly the low-level format of the hard drive. With that task, the hard drive will be prepared to be read from the computer itself. Then, at that point, you can format in the DOS version you prefer. I finally went to the 6.2 because it's more reliable and have the edit task which allow me to overwrite the autoexec file in order to have the direct boot on Windows. That makes really the difference. So again, code in the debug to clear the CMOS and Ctrl A to go in the hidden menu in the reference disk. The code is easily found, can be easily found in the web. By the way, if you want to have more details, just leave a comment and I will give the code easily. So at this point, the machine is fixed. Just need to put back the top lid, and hopefully I will find in the future the original and working floppy drive, so will make me possible to reassemble the original bezel here. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that if somebody of you is facing the same problem, will find this video helpful, and I'll be back soon with some interesting videos and repair. Bye.